What it is, it's your boy, Dutch the Damon, and you now watching Damon Time with Dutch. On today's episode of Prison Stories Uncut, we down Jessup in Patuxent with it, man. Now, this situation took place over 20 some odd years ago, as usual. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos about Patuxent, then you already know once a week we had to go to group, and one person that lived amongst our community, right, because we had to live in a community setting, right, he had to tell his story. And everybody else just sit back and listen. And at the end of that session, the doctors that ran that program, they would go ahead on and give some input to ask you if you want to ask any questions or anything like that, right? So on this particular Wednesday, we had group. So I go ahead and walk in the classroom because we was using the classroom for our group meetings down there, right? They sit the chairs in a circle, you feel me? And the doctors that run the program, they sit in the circle with us, right? And they go ahead on and ask anybody want to speak this week and tell their story. You got 6 months to tell your story. But somebody always want to tell their story. I was all ears. But anyway, this one dude from out DC, right? For video sake, we gonna call him Mikey Man. Now, Mikey Man was light skinned, medium built, bald head, the quiet type for real. And I noticed on the tier he had a little respect as far as the DC dudes amongst his circle. And word in the jail supposed to be he supposed to have some hands, right? And Slim knew who I was. He had a mutual respect for me too. He just was from DC, so he ran with different crowds. And when we see each other, we always speak, you know what I mean? But little chit chats here and there, but we ain't hang together or nothing like that. We was cool. Now, Slim was a Muslim and he was a DC boy, right? But he wasn't one of the DC boys that ran with the DC crowd. He ran with FTK, and they had like a set within the FTK, the DC boy. See, a lot of people don't know that, right? But yeah, he was running with the DC boy branch of the FTK in Baltimore system. It was another gang they got in Maryland, the DC boys in the Maryland system, but he wasn't with them. At least not at that time that I know of. But anyway, Slim go ahead and raise his hand in the group like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and tell my story this week. He like, it's might as well. I ain't no need to holding it in. Now he had a co-defendant that was right in the group with us. You know what I mean? Both of them, they was both in the program, so they was in the group with us, right? So his co-defendant, he was light skinned, dreads, you feel me? Tattoos and shit. Now he wasn't quiet. Loud mouth, always running around on the tier laughing and joking and shit like that, right? But on this particular day in group, he was real quiet, right? But anyway, so the dude, Mikey Man from DC, he went on ahead and started telling this story. Everybody get quiet in the group. So he starts out by telling this story, saying he's from Northeast DC, came up hard and all that, blase, blase. And he gets to going into how he had lost his parents and shit like that when he was younger, right? So he was living with his grandmother. But he had a cousin that was living there with his grandmother too, right? So he said him and the cousin, they never really get along. He said when he moved in there, the cousin was stealing his clothes and shit like that. Stuff coming up messing. So he went on here, had to put his hands on them a couple times, right? But they was cousins, you feel me? First cousins. So it really wasn't no biggie, you know what I mean? So he was talking about how they would hang out and shit like that. And whenever somebody would pick with the other cousin, Mikey Man wouldn't go for that shit. He would go ahead and put hands on whoever, let them know don't fuck with my family. You feel me? So long story short, one day, the cousin come running in the house, lip a little fat, you know what I mean? Sweaty like clothes been ripped, like shirt been ripped. He run in the house and get Mikey Man. He tell Mikey Man, yeah, man, they just went on ahead and jumped on me. 3, 4 of them. So he asked Mikey Man for the bip. He like, man, give me the bippy, man. So Mikey looking at him like, no, I ain't giving you no blick. My little peoples, I got you for real. So Mikey said he go up in the room, flip the matches, grab the bippy, throw the hoodie on, put his tennis on, he get in that suit, he ready. He tell his cousin like, man, come on, we get ready to get a striker, man. So they wait for nightfall, pull a New Jersey drive, steal a car, right? Park it, hide it, put it up. So the next day when they knew everybody was gonna be outside on their block chilling, they go back in the house, jumping all black again. Grab that blick, go get the stolo, peel off. Now they lurking. They in the ops hood lurking. He got the cousin with him. The cousin driving. At about lurking for about 2 hours. Took him 2 hours to track nigga down. Now, TikTok won't let me describe these type of scenes. So all I'm gonna say is 2 got deleted. About a week and a half later, the cousin gets grabbed up, taken in for questioning. 1 hour after the cousin gets grabbed up and taken into questioning, Mikey Man gets grabbed up and taken in for questioning. Long story short, the cousin went on ahead and painted a vivid picture for the investigator. Basically told him everything down to the color socks and drawers Mikey Man had on. So I'm looking at this man like, what? So basically the cousin went and got Mikey Man when he had a situation where he needed assistance. Slim gave him assistance. He ends up betraying Mikey, man, his own flesh. So while he telling this story, he like, yeah, I end up getting an L plus 90. So everybody like, damn, what your peoples get? What your cousin get? He like, he right there, ask him. I look over, it's his co-defendant. He like, they gave me 15. And ate that cheese. And he's sitting right there. They put both of them in the same program together. And basically later on, when we got back on the tier, I hollered at him. He basically told me he had to sign a contract basically saying he wasn't going to do nothing to his cousin. So they can both be in the program at the same time. If he did anything, he was going to get out of the program and decrease his chance of getting released early. You feel me? So he was both in that program together. This man had L Boogie plus 90 something, and this man had a 15 piece, sitting 7 people over from him. I used to wonder why they was Codies and they never used to talk like that. I ain't never see them talking like that. But everybody knew they was Codies. But he wasn't even putting them out there like that. Told that story though. Needless to say, you already know what happened after that. Once dudes found out he ate that cheese like that, started getting his commissary tub, wasn't getting no phone time. You know how it go. And eventually he checked himself out of that program.